Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. It is time for Friday night on the Homestead, and tonight's topic is called Pole Barn Evolution. And how's everybody doing out there? Let me go over to the comments and make sure I talk to everybody. All right, first one in was, at least first one commenting was Crew 1351. Then Geeky Gardens came in, and Shady Hill Homestead, and I Froze, Kaylin Strain, Diana, and hang on a second. Yeah, Frenchie Sandy, Diana. Okay, things are just seeming like out of order what everybody was talking to and stuff. So, all right, and we got several lurkers here. So, hey, lurkers, how you doing? Not a problem lurking. Just try hitting the thumbs up and maybe just say lurking. Just listening. Something like that. And Sandra Vomar is in here as well. All right, so in setting this one up, back in the early 60s, as a kid, we built a couple pole barns. And then and they looked like everyone else's pole barns around. And in like mid 70s, 73, like junior and senior year, I graduated in 75. So, we built some pole barns there. When we moved to Northern California, we built another couple pole barns. And you look at pole barns if you Google it, it is not a pole barn. They're doing on foundation barns. Those are not pole barns. And you go back historically, and the regular barns are saying, the Google is saying, oh, these are pole barns. And the barn builders and stuff, no, those are not pole barns. Pole barns have to have, let me bring this stuff back up here. Look at that. The poles are going down into the ground. They're not on a stone foundation. They're not on concrete. They're not on, the poles go in the ground. And that's the major definition of a pole barn. And let me see here. Let me just go over here and see if I duplicated that I did. So pole barns, for the most part, were simple ones like this with a slight slope to the windward side where the wind's blowing from, so it's not trying to catch it. And sometimes that back wall would have just some slats across or something to A, cut down the wind, B, try to keep the rain out of the barn area and where animals can gather at, or if you have a little fence around it and you're using it to feed the livestock and corrals around it, you keep alfalfa, hay, whatever in there. See, like something like this. I mean, you look at it, nice slope going down. They're starting to put hay in there. Actually, it looks like they rained there. Actually, no, they got snow out there. They've been building the snow and making it, but yeah. So plain, simple. This one here, you can see where they were painting the creosote onto the poles to keep it longer. Let's see what Caitlin said. Don't remember if they were in front during my preschool that had pole barns or standard frame. Generally, these were built first, and then they worked on building the real barnwood builders barns, where they actually stood stuff up and build it on the ground, stood it up, set it in place, braced the one, I forget what it's called, bent. Brace the one bent, build the second one. Once they got it up, they tie it together, and then they tie the third one to it. Regular, barn building, the way the Amish do it. But here is a modern twist on it, big time. They got the poles, but they're not going in the ground. What they did though, they went and augured a hole, poured concrete with a metal bracket to set the poles in, or they drilled up in it so that the metal bracket had a flat steel on it, and then a like a piece of pipe going up inside, and they drilled up the post a little bit, and I looking at this again, I've been looking at this a couple times. I don't see where they secured the beam to that black steel footing. If they had a thing going up in it, usually they drill a hole into the pipe or whatever, and put a lag bolt that goes in and secures into it, so it won't lift off if the hard wind comes at it. This one, they're still they've gone with modern style the rafters and stuff as far as putting it across there, and then they run some 1x material, not solid. Half the roof. If you guys see this on a TV, you see it so much better. But up on the looking at the open end on the left side, you can see the slabs where they milled the wood, and they just nailed it to the rafters, and then they went and screwed on their metal roofing on top of that. Yeah, I will still call this a pole building because it's not on a concrete foundation. It's not on that they did holes, but in keeping the poles out of the ground to prevent them from rotting. Yeah, I can see, this is a modern version of a pole barn. Yes and no. It depends if you have termites in the area, because not all areas have termites. Where we were at in Martinez, California, there were no termites. The soil was very hostile to termites, and the poles we buildings we put there, we didn't get any. The ones we built in Fredonia, Arizona, were also slightly hostile. The ground was also slightly hostile to termites. But when we go back a couple pages here, this one here, you see the black on it. They're painting with creosote or some other preservative that chases off the termites, and waterproofs it going down in so it doesn't rot out. The pole barns generally are not made to last 40 or 50 years or 100 years or 200 years. They're generally a temporary or a short time frame type thing for 20, 30 years or whatever. Now, some of them, when they put them in the ground, they can pour concrete around it like you would a fence post. Put a little concrete in the bottom, set your post in, pour concrete around it, so it's completely encased. Yeah, but the ones we always built were from pine. In Arizona, we had the Kaibab Forest, which is all pine. And the stuff my dad got in Martinez there was pine poles. Yeah, that's why I mean, here there are some termites around, but they seem to go after the cottonwood trees more than anything else. And they're totally subterranean, and they go after cottonwood trees. Now this one here, you can see the slats across on top of the rafters that they screw the metal roofing down to. This one, they gave it a cantilever top on it, so it does have a peak, and it comes down about 2 feet towards the opening, so that the wind doesn't catch it as easy. But this, look at the size of these poles on the front are pretty stout, and it's harder to see the ones on the back, but they're fairly stout too. They just nailed some 2x material to it, and then put their siding on the 2x material. This one, I can't see any metal connectors on it, and it looks like, I'm looking at the front one here on my big 40-inch monitor here, it looks like they poured concrete up level with the top of the ground. So these poles here, which are pressure treated, are in concrete, but look at what they did for the rafters. They're using prefab metal rafters with tabs on it that they lay the 1x10s or whatever on top and screw into the 1xs to hold them down, and then they put the metal roofing on top of that. This is a real more modern type pole barn. Yeah. Let's see here. How many more do I got? All right. This is a monstrosity of a pole barn. This one's made for a little bit longer lasting. The poles on it, they had another picture, but they had other crap in there going on. I didn't want to post that one. And yeah, I poured concrete in, set the get a couple inches in the bottom, put the poles in, on that, poured more concrete around it, and really encapsulated the poles. And these are green, so they are pressure treated. And so they put all those in, and then they built it like the rafters are, those rafters are heavy duty, really cool looking ones up there. So yeah, it's this one's for a long time. This one, I'm not sure if they're what all they're gonna put in there, but this looks more like either an equipment pole barn, or they may come out later and put some siding on a couple on the sides and keep it open front to drive through, and put hay in there. But yeah, there's this is a really nice one, and it looks like it can take the weight of snow as well. That's something Jack doesn't have to worry about, is snow. Here, this is one someone's putting together themselves, and they got stringers across the bottom to keep everything when they were setting the posts into the ground. They were keeping everything centered, and then they had the lower ones to help keep everything true as far as verticals, and then they tagged the top ones on. This one's still under construction, but yeah, so this is one. Also, the verticals are pressure treated, and some of these lower 2x12s going across there are pressure treated as well. The upper ones look like they're redwood and Conhart redwood. So it looks a little bit more. That's what I'm looking for. It. I don't know. I just lost the word. Yeah, yeah. We had one for the melt. We built a pole barn for next to the other little barn we had there in Martinez. for the cows to be out of the rain and stuff. It had a feeding just loads of, not a trough, or put the alfalfa in and stuff. But it was like one of those, an A-frame type one, and only a third of it what matched up to was next to the other existing barn, which it was a slope one on a cement slab. And that's the cows are down. We open the door and they come into the onto the cement slab. We'd milk them and they go right back out again. But it also had areas where we could pull cars under to work on, or other things to work on, and part of it was a storage area for all the alfalfa for the cows. Let's see what the next one here looks like. And that was the last one there of the slides. So this one here I thought was a neat idea. They set their cargo container down, and then they set their poles in concrete on it to build two little pole barns on either side of their cargo container. They had a bunch more photographs, but they had wording all over it and stuff, and I couldn't use those. But this one here looks like, okay, we're going to park the quads under this one over here. I'm going to put the tractor under this one here. I keep it out of the snow and stuff. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that the rain and everything dumps onto the cargo container, which means the way the roof of the cargo container is, the rain doesn't run off front to back. It runs off the sides into the barn area or down the sides and causes problems. If I was doing it like that, I would probably do just the opposite. I'd probably put the cargo containers on the outside and then build an A-frame over the middle so the top of the cargo container stays dry. And that also would give you could use the cargo container for part of the support for the rafter beams going across there that you could build off of. What we got here? Yeah, those are the new style of shops, garages, barns. Yeah, they're and thing is, here's interesting. So coming into Basalt here, off of 900, the second house in built a big 4-stall garage. I think it's double deep, and that's what they did. They poured concrete up 3 feet all the way around. They left the space in the front for the doors, and they left space on each side for a pedestrian door into it. Now, on the street where we're at, a block and a quarter, they built an RV pole barn, and they augered it out, threw some dry concrete mix in the bottom, set the poles in, got them all squared up, and then they poured concrete. So so some people do it with the sides on it, some don't. Across the street on the back corner, Philip built the house, and then built a big shop on it. It turns out that's what he does for a living, is build shops. And they built it with the 3-foot high wall on it. But then he also did something which I think a lot of them don't do. He actually put 2-foot gables coming off of it, so the snow landed farther away from the shop and didn't build up again, and it didn't just pile up against that concrete and get up to the steel siding in bad winters. So it's off on the side, so he can go just drive around it with his tractor and just easily pull it away without getting near his shop. All right, that's what I did for on the shop that was already here. On the west side, I put gutters across it to catch that water. We added gutters to the house and then put heat tape on there so we didn't have to worry about the snow building up and taking off the gutters. And so I capture all this, the rainwater I can from the time just before the last freeze is done through. And, that way I can use it for the garden stuff. I did make a mistake. Gil made a mistake. Yeah, I made a mistake. Last fall, I forgot to open the drain on the one for the shop, catches the water for the shop. And we were getting it there doing the weeding around. All of a sudden, I'm looking, I go, what the heck are we doing? Tap it. That sucker was full of water all winter long. And it didn't break the IBC tote. It had enough crinkling in it that it expanded and it didn't break. So I got lucky there. So yeah, so as soon as the last freeze was gone, hey, I have a tote full of winter snow water. From the roof low to the ground. Yeah, some of them, when they have concrete on them, they'll go down a little bit. But around here, I've noticed what they do for, they'll do is where they're putting on the stuff, they will mark the line where they want it at, and they'll mark the starting point of because the siding has ridges and flats and stuff. They'll mark that, and they will drill they'll drill holes for 2 sets of wood or plastic that matches it, that goes right up against the concrete, and they'll anchor that there. And then when they put the metal siding on, it matches that, and they just put a couple screws into the plastic or the wood thing. It keeps the rodents and spiders from going up the gap, which is interesting. Day before yesterday, I saw a garter snake out here, and I went to pick it up to try to take it away from the shop and put it over in the far field where the cats go after the voles and the mice. And as soon as I got to him, he went right up that little gap. It's like, oh crap. All right. The cost to build something like this, the cost is fluctuating so friggin' bad for wood and stuff. When I started buying the OBS to line the inside of the shop I have here, because it wasn't lined, I'm insulating it and lining it with OBS. The price was high, and I waited and waited and waited until in the middle of winter the price dropped. And when it dropped, that's when I bought the OBS. And now the price for OBS is like 50% higher than it was when at its high point beforehand. So cost of lumber and stuff's going up. Unless you know someone that has a lot of trees like these guys, and has a sawmill where you can mill your own wood and stuff. Yeah, doing pole barns that you want to last a long time, or you're actually doing more, not doing pole barns, you're doing the next evolution back to the regular barn type, is going to be expensive. Yeah. And Kayla, yeah, so not just the OBS, but the screws, nails, yeah. And so the while I was insulating the walls and stuff, all of a sudden the fiberglass insulation went through the roof, and it's like, oh, crap. So yeah, I'm waiting for the price. Prices have been fluctuating, but I haven't had the timing just right to buy some on the cheaper prices. But once I get some get the what I have all the OSB I need to finish it off. It's just trying to do it right now. My shoulders bother me, so I can't muscle it up there. When next time my wife is up, we're gonna take the middle. She's supposed to come up for 2 weeks, so the middle weekend we're gonna work on the shop together. Two of us can pick up the sheets, put it on the lift, and I can lift it up and crank it up there, and we can put it in place, and we can finish off the roof portion. Once the roof portion is finished off, then we'll get blow-in insulation up there just to insulate it, so that shop stays a whole lot warmer in the winter time. But it all depends also what you want the pole barn for. Now, some people have a regular barn or a shop, and they'll build next to it a pole barn lean-to where the let's see if I can go back here and bring up the one here. Did anybody show it? None of them showed it. I'm just looking for something. Okay, so probably off of this one here. Later on, you could build just a lean-to off the one side without any sides on it if they enclose this one. Let me look at some of these others here. Like you could continue doing a lean-to off the back of this one or off the sides. But just a little simple one. So they put it up against another existing barn, and then they just like if they go ahead and enclose this all the way in on the sides, later they could build one on the side and use that just for storing feed or parking stuff you don't want to park in the middle there. Yeah, that's what I got. I got a drywall lift, but and that's what I've been using. I did a couple videos over on Camppatton. Oh, this is a Camppatton side. I did them here 2 years ago when I was putting it up. I got it at Harbor Freight. A 5 by 6 foot platform of green pressure treated plywood, and 2 by 6s for framing structure under my new garden shed was $230. Yeah. And so that looks like that's just 5 by 6 and it's $230. Yeah. And Howie's in the house. So doing pole barns and stuff have their advantages. What I want to do on the far side of my big blue shop, actually, let me see if I can bring that up here. Hang on here. Let me go ahead and put that back over here while I look this up. Okay, hang on here. Oh, interesting. A friend of mine just posted the Walmart where my son works. Was saying this was so today he saw the sign saying closed with signs on the door saying closed indefinitely. Not sure what's going on. Anyways, I'm trying to find this other little thing here. If I can find it, I'm not going to find it. Did he put it here? Hang on, let me check. Nope, it's not showing. Dang it. Ah, wait a minute. I'm going to do that other one. Give me a second here. All right, all right, let me go this way. All right, so move this from there over here. Bring that up and share that. Okay, so this is looking down on my houses, um, and my shop there with the blue roof. So you can see the big wood pile from for the 20 some odd cords of firewood there, but this picture doesn't have it on it right now. In fact, this doesn't even have the driveway I put in, but off the side here of the shop back there, I'm going to move all that wood over and pour some 24-foot wide pad, the length of the shop, and then build I put a cargo container up against the shop, 8-foot space, cargo container out there, and use that as the basis for a quote pole barn. And I'm just going to tie in up there and just run off there. So it's, it's held in place. It'll be held in place by the cargo containers that aren't going to go anywhere, but I'll be able to park my tractor and stuff in a lean-to there rather than that. And I'll probably fill up 2 of those, the 2 cargo containers once I get them over here and moved around with all the cut firewood. First harvest from the garden. Cool. Yeah, my daughter's chickens have been coming over and hitting the orchard and back and just scratching it all up good and everything. And then they went around and hopped up in some of the raised planter beds and took out the parsnips, took out most of the carrots, left the garlic alone, left the onions alone, started scratching in the lemon balm. But they did leave the spearmint and the peppermint alone. All right. The shop is 40. Shoot, let me think. Let me think on this one again. It's 38 feet deep. It's 45 feet wide. So, yeah, so when I put the cargo containers there, they'll stick out a couple feet beyond the back of it, which is fine. Because I put the rock, I've been building the pad there before I put all the firewood on it. I built the pad out to go out a couple feet behind because I want the front to be flush with the shop. How long do the cargo containers last? It depends. If you get brand new ones and or one trip ones and you get it and you immediately hose it off for any of the salt that got on it in the ocean trip, oh, they'll last you, and you treat it nice, it'll last you 40, 50 years. If you get one that's beat up and everything else, yeah, you're going to have to go up there and pressure wash the top, maybe a little sandblasting, and repaint the top, make sure it stays watertight. Oh, they're excellent. For on the top, they because they're only 8 feet wide, you can't build much up on it. But the ones I have 2 across the street, and I've never seen, because the sides of the one is dark green, the other one is a dark orange. Oh, they just take that heat and put it inside, warm it up, and the snow just kind of off it. I've never seen the snow more than 18 inches on the cargo container, and that's a fresh dumped snow. Next day, the snow is gone, but the snow's all over the ground, building up, and it's just because the side of the cargo containers heat up, and which is bad in the summertime. But if I'm putting firewood in there, I don't have to worry about it. Of course, once I put it in there, I'll be putting a sloped roof across from just under the eaves of the shop to right on top the outside of the last cargo container, so the snow just will go off. And those, hang on, though I'm getting something up here for you. Okay, so this was this was on. Oh, this one was this morning. I got the one from in there from before. Let me scroll, look at it, prices. So April 3rd was the previous one I got from them, and used 40-foot high cube, which is why I get high cubes because they're 9 foot instead of 8 foot tall inside. 2,700. Currently now, used 20 footers are 2,300. High cubes, oh, high cubes are the same price. The price did not go up on the high cubes for the used. However, new 40-foot high cubes are $4,150, and those are going to last. They will last my probably for my kids' lifetime, especially if we put a second coat of paint on top of it, for it. So yeah. So that's the thing. If you want to do a quick way to put up a barn, a pole barn of some sorts, get a couple cargo containers and don't worry about putting up a pole barn. Use those for your poles and just put a roof over the space in between. Now on the cargo containers, they do have they look square in the front, but they have a slight curvature to it. So you can put a roofing on it so that the comes down. It peaks in between them, and it comes down and it rests just outside the center line. And any rain will just run right on off the outside. You have to build it all the way to the outside of the cargo containers. So you like on this thing here, you could if there wasn't anything on that side, you could build it so the peak comes down and hits just about that pole, that rod pole of the door, which is beyond the center point, and so the water just would keep running off the side. Yeah, that's the one reason I haven't put gutters on the shop, on that side of the shop, because I was going to put this other roof right up under it, so the rain would come right down off that onto the new roof, and I'd catch over on the far end and just catch all with one gutter to catch everything. Okay, any questions before I wrap it up here? Because I just wanted to touch out the differences on the barns and the poles and the shops and everything going on. And when someone says a pole, when someone says a pole barn, that's a pole barn. That's not a true pole barn, but it's a modern version of the pole barn, as is that. All right. Okay. So tomorrow night on Gray Man Prepping is after they start cloning. What are your plans? And there's a movie, I think it was called The Island, where they were cloning. The rich people were getting clones of themselves for organ harvesting so they could live longer. Yeah. Anyways, Monday back here in Camppatton Family Compound with Tammy and Mark, we're going to talk about canning supplies, and we're going to spread it a little bit farther than just canning. We're going to talk canning supplies and do an open chat. We'll also cover dehydrating supplies, freeze drying supplies, anything about food preservation supplies. We'll cover that on Monday. Tuesday, on Tactical Tuesday, for Gray Man Prepping is Build Your Skill Bank. Midnight Ride is on Thursday. Next Friday here is this was suggested. I don't know if she wants me to mention her name. She's not in the chat right now. Your home without China crap. We're going to talk about how the China crap we pick up and don't realize how much China crap we have in our homes. So that's what we'll be talking about here next Friday. All right, everyone. I hope your gardens are all doing good and you're getting ready for the summer. And I will see you tomorrow, hopefully, over on Grayman Prepping. Take care.